bugging out, getting home, broke down in the middle of nowhere, or just want to get out there and test yourself, here are some quick tips for a sustained, longer movement. Number one, bring what you need and only what you need. I see so many people, even on little day hikes, pack everything but the kitchen sink. If you want your body to keep working, you need to carry a little less gear. If you're burdened by this heavy pack, just trudging along, you're more likely to get injured for one, and you're more likely to get fatigued. Fatigue means injuries you're going to be more susceptible to injury, and then your body's just going to shut. You're going to get dehydrated faster. You're going to run out of your stored calories faster, your electrolytes faster. So my advice is to pack what you need. Go through your kit, all of your kit, and make two piles. One is absolute have-to-haves, like I need to have this stuff right here. And then the other pile is want-to-haves. And then you can kind of start sorting through those want-to-haves and weed out a lot of stuff that you'll never ever need. My chain was a little loose and it flew off on me. The crazy thing about this bike is the chain is absolutely essential, not only to drive the bike, but also to stop the bike. So having a loose chain's a bad idea. I should have checked that before I started riding it, but just kind of assumed that it was gonna be okay. Never assume. But luckily, I have the need to have tools. Number two, pack electrolytes of some sort, just some salt. Like I always salt my water. So if I'm doing a sustained long distance movement, if I'm on foot or on bike or whatever, wear a Camelback or something like that. So you can stay hydrated, and it's important to add a little bit of salt to your water, just a couple pinches to I think a 2-3 liter Camelback. And that kept me going. I didn't have any cramps or anything like that on long distance movements. For a long distance movement, whether it's an emergency survival ordeal or you're just recreationally out doing something that's gonna take a while, you need to stay on top of maintenance. Maintenance is the key. Just like if you let your vehicle or your house start to really fall apart when every light on your dash is on. If that's you, tell me in the comment section if you've got all the check engines and all the brakes and all the lights on your dash. If you wait till that happens, it's too late. There's so much, it's not worth fixing. Same thing with your body. If you're on a long distance movement and you wait to the point where you're dehydrated, physically exhausted, just wore slap out, the blisters have already formed, you are going to be done really fast. Your body's going to stop working, and you are just emotionally going to be done as well because of all that discomfort. So you need to stay on top of the maintenance. Stay hydrated. Don't wait. Stay on top of it. Even if you're not really thirsty, if you know you're moving and you're sweating a little bit, just go ahead and just keep drinking water the entire time. Like we talked about before, electrolytes, stay on top of that. Don't get lazy. Don't get complacent. Stay on top of that. The next one is going to be pacing yourself, and that's a good segue into it. You know, pacing yourself is key. Pick a speed that you can maintain the entire time. Don't do short bursts and then be exhausted and have to rest for a long time, and then a short burst and then have to rest. Don't do that. It's going to be much easier and better for your body to be able to just pace yourself at a steady speed the entire time. I know it's hard to do sometimes. You know, your emotions get involved, and maybe it is an emergency and you feel like you got to hurry, especially in the very beginning and sometimes at the very end. But pacing yourself is going to be the key. Let's say there's a really huge steep hill. It's not a race, right? Most likely it's not. You're not having to be at a certain place at any certain specific time. Hopefully it's not a race. Just get to the top. That's the goal. The destination is the goal. Get there. Don't die on the way. Don't break your body on the way. So walk up the hill as opposed to running up the hill. Walk the bike up the hill as opposed to trying to just push yourself up there until your legs start to cramp. Because once that happens, you're done. You got to stop. You got to rest. So maintenance. Stay on top of maintenance and pace yourself. Proper gear, proper attire, right? Clothing. You need to test this stuff out ahead of time. Just like, all the hikers say, and they're right. You should never get a brand new pair of hiking boots and then head out on the Appalachian Trail. That's a bad idea. You need to break in the boots And you also need to break in your feet to the boots. They're compatible in that way. So test your gear. Like, I know I can run a long ways in these shoes or walk a long distance. Like, I've walked 30 miles in these shoes right here and had no issues. No blisters, no hot spots, none of that stuff. I know this because I've done it. And unless you get out there and test your gear and equipment, you won't really know. And your clothing is super important, you know. Like these shorts, I know that these shorts dry fast, and I know I can go a long ways in them, sweating, and go swimming in them, and then get out there, and I know they're gonna dry on me. So wear the proper gear. If you know that you're gonna be, you know, hiking across really rugged terrain, carrying heavy packs, maybe you need a more durable, you know, hiking type boot, you know, something that's capable of carrying a heavy load without you getting a lot of, like, you know, pain in your arches and stuff like that. So test this stuff out and wear the proper gear. Keep it in your vehicle if you're going to be traveling to these areas. You know, if there's some sort of apocalypse, you know, the zombie biker hordes are out again, and you know, you're going to have to walk a long ways on foot. If you have the, you know, the slick work shoes that are, you know, only good for the office, you're going to be in trouble. Next tip is going to be knowing your limits, know your abilities. Are you capable of swimming this distance without dying? If you know that you are, then okay, you know, maybe that's an option for you to go this way. Maybe it's a 10-mile hike around this to get right there. Or I could swim across here, but I know if I do this, I'm going to drown. I wouldn't do it, right? Know your limits, know your abilities. Maybe it's the winter time and this water's freezing cold and you're worried that you're gonna get hypothermia. I know because I've swam across this lake in the wintertime. I don't get hypothermia in a short swim like this, as long as I can get out and get dry clothes back on. So I know that I could make this happen, but you won't know until you've tested yourself. Just like walking, just like riding a bike, you won't know until you've done it. So know what your limits are, and that's gonna help you make better decisions when the time comes. Next tip, duct tape. If you get blisters on your feet, it's too late. As soon as you feel like a little bit of rubbage, a little bit of rawness, a little bit of discomfort, a little hot spot, take a piece of duct tape or moleskin or something like that and cover that area so you can help prolong the discomfort. Because once you get like an open, torn up blister, that is absolutely miserable. Short breaks are totally fine for sustained movements. Really short breaks, like 5 minutes, you know, 15, maybe at 30 at absolute most. Because anything longer than that, what happens is inflammation sets in, and then things really start to get really painful. You know, your knees and your back and everything's going to start to hurt. All the stuff that was chafing is going to really start to get inflamed and become really difficult to start moving again. So short breaks, unless you're planning on stopping and spending the night, you know, staying overnight and you know, feeding yourself and getting a good night's rest. That's not what I'm talking about. But during the actual movement, during the day, just keep moving. If you should happen to hurt yourself somehow, like roll an ankle a little bit, again, if it's a matter of life and death for you to get from A to B, don't stop. If you stop and rest that ankle and put it up and all that stuff, it's just going to get worse and worse and worse. Just keep moving for the most part. Yeah, if you've like broken your ankle and you got bones sticking out, don't do that. That's probably a bad idea. I would figure out another way if possible. But just a light sprain, just keep moving on it and deal with it later. Now, as I get out of the water, my next tip is to stay dry, if at all possible. Change your socks often. If you're wet, you're more likely to suffer from blisters and chafing and all of the things, fungal infections and all the things that come along with it. So try to stay dry as much as possible. Change those socks out. I mean, they're going to get wet. This time of year in Georgia, it's impossible to stay dry because you're just going to be sweating constantly. And that's why it's important to have fast drying options. You know, I wear wool socks year round because they dry really fast. They wick away the moisture from you. They don't stink. Underwear, same thing. Wool underwear, highly recommend it. Fast drying clothes, always a good idea. I don't even wear rain gear in the summertime because it's useless pretty much. Unless I'm absolutely stationary, just sitting around camp or something. I won't even put a poncho on or rain gear. But try to stay dry as much as possible. Motivation. What's your motivation? What's my motivation? Why are you doing what you're doing? Why are you pushing so hard? Why are you needing to get home? Are you motivated to get back to your family? Are you concerned? Are you worried? Are you worried they're going to be worried about you? Do you just want to be the toughest guy on the block? What's your motivation? What motivates me to do things like this? Not that that's not this challenging. It's a pretty short ride, fairly short swim. What motivates me is the discomfort. It is the pain and the suffering that motivates me. With each pedal, with each step, with each stroke, a little bit more suffering. It just pushes me further and further. It makes me go a little faster, a little harder for some reason. Kind of weird, I'm sure. And the same thing with other people, like the misery and the suffering of people around me. If I'm doing the event with someone else, their misery and their suffering drives me on. It encourages me and motivates me, because I know on the other side of this thing is victory, and we'll become stronger. We'll have more confidence. We'll be better after this thing.
Okay.
Did you see that?
Mm-hmm.
How cool was that?
That was not cool.
The last, but definitely not least tip of the day, friends, for a long-term, sustained movement, being successful at it, it's just going to be fitness, just in general. Make fitness part of your life. Make it part of your lifestyle. Have active hobbies, you know. Well, go for a walk every day. If that's all you do, you're still going to be in like the top percentage of Americans. If all you do is walk a mile a day, like 15 minutes, whatever, however long it takes you. If that's all you did every single day, you'd still be way up there when it comes to fitness in America, at least. I work out 3 times a week. Generally speaking, it takes me less than 30 minutes each time. And then I have active hobbies throughout the week as well. And that keeps me in decent shape, where if the time comes, I can do the things. If the time comes and I need to walk 30 miles home, I can do that. But it's best to be fit going into these things. That way you're capable of doing it when it happens. Friends, I'd love to hear what you think about it in the comment section. If you got any more tips, let me know. Hit the thumbs up and subscribe as usual. Feel free to leave a small donation to the channel if you like, and it allows me to keep bringing free content to you guys all the time. Be really grateful for it. Links in the description, comment section, all that good stuff. Can't wait to see you on the next one. And until next time, what's the worst that could happen? Let's just go on 3.